I'm Josh.
And I'm Jen. Welcome to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Each episode brings biblical wisdom and practical conversations on parenting, marriage, and family. And we discuss how to disciple the next generation with a biblical worldview.
Whether you're raising children, shepherding a church, or longing to build a legacy of faith in your home, this podcast is for you.
Join us as we explore how to shape hearts, homes, and churches around the gospel, one conversation at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast.
Hello. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Josh.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good today. It's really sunny here in Minnesota, and I feel like in the winter, the sun is everything. So it's good. I like that.
I agree.
A sunny day makes a big difference.
It does. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. Well, it's still the start of the new year. So we're talking today about eating healthy in the new year and a charge to remove processed foods from your family's diet.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my goodness. Deep topics on the podcast.
This will be
But
good.
it's kind of a fun one. This has been something that we've been working on over the last few years. So it's been great.
It's had a big place in our life because we have literally made entire lifestyle changes because of this. Not just like what's in your kitchen, but what's like we literally sold our home and moved so that we could eat differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been quite the process.
Maybe share a little bit of that about that backstory so that people know this isn't just like a theoretical thing for us. I mean, this is like a big life thing for us. So share a little bit about that journey for everybody.
Yeah. So rewind a number of years ago, I would say I kind of started on this journey in 2018, I would say. So I always loved to read, and I read this book by Michael Pollan called The Omnivore's Dilemma. And I don't know where I got it. I don't know where I got my hands on it, but I remember reading it. And it talks about basically like the history of food and how is food made in America. And the omnivore's dilemma is, so an omnivore would be somebody who eats both meat and plants. And the dilemma would be, what should they eat? And I remember reading this book and being introduced to a man named Joel Salatin in the book. And Joel Salatin is, you know, if you're in any of these communities, just the most amazing Christian man. He owns a regenerative farm. He farms from a biblical perspective, and he just is great. So this was not a Christian book that I read, The Omnivore's Dilemma, far from it. But I remember reading out loud to Josh, like, there is this man named Joel Salatin, and he calls himself like a lunatic Christian homeschool farmer. And I was just fascinated by him. So fast forward then, I was like, well, I'm going to do some reading on food. I read all of the Michael Pollan books. And then I found myself with this book in my hand called 100 Days of Real Food. And that book really put into practice for us in just like a really simple way. Like, how do you transition to this diet of eating real food? And so...
Is it all food real food?
All food is not real food. We'll get
which is
into
what
that.
we're talking about.
We'll talk about that. But slowly, we integrated just some changes to our diet. We cut out the majority of processed foods to start. I remember like saying, okay, we're going to, I'm going to cook a certain way. I started feeding the kids salad for lunch, and they didn't like the salad for lunch. But I was so gung-ho. And this is like pre-COVID, all the things. But we just kind of jumped right in. And I would say incrementally over the years, we have just literally transformed the way our family eats 100%.
So bring us though up the present day.
Yeah.
I said that we made some major life changes.
Yeah.
Those major life changes caused. So in our previous home, we lived on 2 acres, which when we bought it, it was super rural. We lived on a dirt road.
Gorgeous.
And it was actually zoned agriculture. We didn't really care about that when we bought it. But if you zoning's everything. If you in Minnesota, kind of in the suburbs, we were just outside the edge of the suburbs at the time. And so we had 2 acres, zoned ag, So partway through the process, we're like, hey, we're so dang. We could like have animals.
That was like a huge ding, ding, ding.
So
egg zoning. It was crazy.
yeah, which is great, by the way, for tax purposes.
Yeah, it was great.
And we ended up getting a whole bunch of chickens, built a chicken coop. The chickens are the gateway to a lot of other things.
And that's kind of like a joke right now that chickens are your gateway drug. They truly are.
Well, what ended up happening was we got these chickens, and then, they miraculously every day you get 3, 4, 6 eggs that show up. We had like a half a dozen at first, and then up to like 10 or 12.
And they're so cute, like free ranging.
And then you get these eggs, and you notice these taste way different
and they look different
than the grocery store, and they taste way better. Like the yolks in them are bright orange, and the ones in the grocery store are pale yellow. Pale things. If you ever seen a pale person, that's not a good thing. That means they're sick and they're not healthy. And so we noticed when our chickens would be out pecking around, God created chickens to peck the ground, and they need protein. They eat bugs. Their yolks would get really orange and healthy and vibrant because what they eat is what we end up eating. It goes into them and their food. And so you eat these eggs, and you're like, these are delicious. They're like way more flavorful, and they have a way higher nutritional value than the grocery store ones, depending on which ones you buy in a grocery store. And so we were like, wow, if it's this way for eggs, it's probably this way for a lot of other things too. So in our little 2-acre area, we had a little wooded area. And what did God create to be in the woods? Pigs.
Pigs live in the woods.
Pigs live in the woods. They're great. They're great things to. So we got some fencing, and we put up this little fenced-in area. Built like a little A-frame thing out of wood, and we had 5 piggies.
We had Betty and Ann, Hammy,
Alexander Hamilton, which we call Hammy. Who else? We had 5. Buddy,
and Gus.
And Gus. And so we, we're in 2 acres. We have neighbors. Our one neighbor beside us had, what do they have, 5 or 10 acres. The neighbor behind us had 3 acres. So not super close, but close enough that, we had people around us. And we kind of ended up becoming like the petting zoo around, because people were like, hey, they got piggies and chickens. And
let me see the pigs.
And so, but you end up, our animals in that setting, they're employees. They got a job to do. And so we didn't raise them just to pet them. We raised them to eat them. Yeah. And so you eat, these were, what we have are kuni pigs, and they're a smaller breed. They are a pastured pig. So about half of what they eat is pasture, and they don't grass. Root like your normal, like when you think of they do root a little, but not like, So we had this on 2 acres, and kind of got to the point of saying, we did this for many, many years and decided we like this. The food is healthy. We know where our food is coming from. Even organic food, which we'll talk about. Organic food's a great thing to buy. We buy organic food.
Yeah, we buy mostly organic.
There's very little accountability, though, in the organic world. Like, no one's holding the farmers accountable who are doing this, and there's a lot of fraud in organics. Like in Minnesota, where we live, you could literally go right now, go search online fraud in Minnesota organics, and you will see literally in the last couple years, massive fraud cases in our state alone that people have claimed things were organic and then were not. And so even with organic, you just got to be careful with what you're getting and check your labels. And we were like, all right, we're going to take this into our own hands. And so then we sold our house and we bought a farm, a fairly large farm, so that we could. So now we still have chickens. We have, how many chickens do we have right now?
We have a zillion.
We're in winter here. So animals peak in the spring when they all have babies, and then they go down by the fall. So we have, 75 chickens right now. We'll get up to a couple hundred in the summer months as we raise them for meat, and they hatch and we get, sell some. We still have our kuni pigs. We got rid of all of our piglets, except for a couple that we kept. So now we have, a dozen or so.
Yeah.
They take 2 years to grow out before they get to the processor, because they're a slower growing pig. And we like that. Good things take time, and this is true in food as well.
Yeah.
If you want a fast cooked steak or a slow cooked steak, I want a slow growing animal as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have dairy cows. We're all Jerseys. We've tried a whole bunch of different
We've
kinds.
done so many breeds of cows,
Yeah.
but the Jerseys are where it's at.
We love the Jerseys. So introduce us to a few of the characters on the farm.
Well, right now we're milking Dolly and Foxy. Drying off Foxy though for the winter for her spring calf. And so we milk A2 registered Jersey cows for their milk.
And A2 is a certain.
It's a beta casein
Yep.
in the milk, and then
And
makes it easier to digest.
Yep. So if you've got a dairy allergy, oftentimes you're not allergic to.
Yeah.
You're often allergic to the A1 dairy, which
Yep.
I have a massive dairy allergy.
Yep.
I couldn't have dairy for many years growing up as a child, but A2 milk I have no problem with because that's the true form of dairy milk. It actually has gotten transformed to A1 due to grains being literally transforming the bacteria in the cow of the stomach because they're made to eat grass. That's the way God created cows. Not that they can't have a little grain, but when it's a all grain all the time diet.
They've just been genetically
changed. Yep. So A2, we get people that get A2 milk from us that have, like, we just recently had somebody that I haven't been able to drink milk or dairy for 10 years, and I can drink your milk no problem.
Yeah,
well, that's A2. Anyways.
Yep. And then we've got some beef cows on the farm right now. We're raising up for beef, and it takes 2 years to raise a Jersey for beef. But we've got Lightning McQueen, and we've got Francis Schaefer and Oli.
You're gonna have names. You might as well have fun with them. Right?
And then we just recently had a heifer calf this last fall, which is a female calf, and her name is Coco. And so here on our farm, we have transitioned from eating just a conventional diet to making such tremendous life changes that we now raise to eat all of our own beef, dairy, pork, chicken, and eggs. And so I would say we are probably very extreme on the lengths that we've taken to eliminate processed foods from our diet. And you don't need to go that far. Like, you can eliminate processed food and eat healthy diet.
Yeah, we'll talk through 10 steps at the end. And this is like the end of the spectrum.
Without raising pigs in your yard, right? Like, you don't have to have a pig named Betty to eat well.
Yeah.
You might want one, though, because they are so fun.
Come visit the farm and meet all the...
Life is better with a milk cow. Life is better, and it's so fun. But it's been a journey for us. So let's talk through what are ultra-processed foods versus unprocessed foods. So let's kind of go there because in America right now, the majority of people's diets are processed foods. I want to say I read a statistic that the average child eats, it's like 66% of their diet is ultra-processed foods. And that changes, from country to country. But in America, that is really just like the highest, percentage of what food are eating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So examples of ultra-processed foods would be any foods that you find in a container. So if it's like goldfish crackers or frozen pizza or like cured meats or, like cookies or fast food, anything that you would buy that is like in a package, it would be like sodas, fruit juices, and things like that. We would call those ultra processed because the food, it starts out with a food or a food-like ingredient, and it is cooked and chopped and refined and packaged and, preservatized and all the things in order for it to become the one I would call food-like product that you eventually like zip open and eat. I won't even go into, what's in the aluminum foil that your food has been sitting in for the last 6 months before you ate it. That's a whole nother topic. But there's a major difference between eating ultra processed food and just real food. real food. So Josh,
Yeah,
what would you call real food?
I like what you called it. You called it a food-like substance because they're created in a lab. A lot, there's chemicals, there's flavorings, there's preservatives.
Yeah.
It really is a Franken food. It's not a real thing. Yeah, it's funny if you can use some of these foods, they don't even go bad. And real things mold, real things rot, real things don't last for very long. And so I saw somebody that set out, it was an ice cream sandwich.
I saw that too.
Yeah, did you see that?
Oh, it was so
And the ice cream sandwich didn't even melt hardly. It just kind of like oozed a little bit, but it
like got like liquidy, but then it like kept its form.
Yeah. Because it's not a real. It's not real food.
Milk. It's not real milk.
It's a food-like substance, and so it's enhanced with flavorings that tricks our brain into thinking this is really yummy, but then our body, they're nutritionally deficient, and not just deficient, they are devoid of a lot of nutrition at all, and so it ends up, the result is that it makes the body sick. And so if you've ever wondered, if you notice in America, in the government, have you ever noticed that the Food and Drug Administration are one? Why do they combine? Why do they combine the Food and Drug Administration as one department? You think, what do those two have to do with each other?
Everything.
Your food historically is your drug. In other words, that's what people used to stay healthy for all of human history. That food is where health begins. And so maybe you remember the old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, that wasn't just like a silly nursery rhyme as a child. There is so much truth behind it, because if we want to be in good health, we have to eat good food, high in nutrition and free from the toxins, the chemicals, the fake stuff that is in it that makes our body sick. And that's what ends up happening. There's actually a Sicilian proverb that states, what you don't pay for at the table, you pay for at the doctor. And so there's this increase. You can watch throughout history, even in the last 100 years here in America. If you wanted to do an interesting research piece, go search for the average cost for the American family for food and for medical expenses over the last 100 and 150 years. And as our food has gotten cheaper, because processed foods are cheap, because they're not real food, so the cost of those you can get lower, but then your medical costs rise, and vice versa. If we're paying a lot for real food, because real food's expensive, and that's often one of the reasons people say, I can't afford it. Well, you're going to pay for it.
You can afford it. You can eat real food.
You're going to pay for it. You can. Well, you're going to pay for it at the doctor's office if you don't pay for it at the table.
Yeah.
And so I'll get to the real food in just a second, but I just want to state, look at the obesity crisis in our country. It's interesting looking back 50, 70 years in photos and videos. Yeah. America was thin. It's not anymore. It's because we have all these empty calories that we're eating, and then the chronic diseases that have skyrocketed, and the allergies and the ADHD, autism, and all those things. In part, it's because of the American diet. Those were, not that they weren't around, but man, not like they are today. The diabetes, we know for a fact diabetes is connected to food. Like there's very certain ones. There's lots of carcinogens in certain kinds of chemicals that are added to foods, is proven by studies. We won't go through that. That's for a different day to go through. But it seems like sick is the new normal because of the ultra processed food diet. And what has ended up happening, we've become really disconnected from our food. And so, it shows up at a grocery store, and we don't know, for the most part, how to get there. I
used to make this joke. I for real used to make this joke a long time ago. I'd be like, how did the food get to the grocery store? I have no idea. How did it get there? Now I walk around the grocery store and I'm like, shoot, don't we're not buying that chicken, you know.
Yeah, like the meat comes from, I'll just give you an example. Most meat comes from 4 slaughterhouses in the country, and it goes everywhere. And they'll throw in hundreds or thousands of cows. They all get grinded up. And so like you get a burger,
Beef, yeah.
you get a burger at the store. It's not like Dolly coming from one cow. It's coming from like
I don't want to eat
hundreds of cows that have all been grinded up together.
Or the same with the milk. Because all the milk from all these, because even let's say the farm is like 100 cows, which is a ton of cows. The milk from all those cows into one big bulk tank, and then that big bulk tank gets taken to the milk plant, which is the milk from every other cow, farm in the county. It's gonna be like 1,000 cows' milk mixed together when you drink.
And you
milk
say, well,
from
I
the
don't really
grocery
care
store.
about that. Here's
Who
what that
cares?
does.
But
It masks problems because you can
animal
mask
health, yeah.
unhealthy cows in the masses versus we'll milk our cow. We keep one cow's milk separate. If it's not clean and not healthy,
it's not perfect, you know it.
you know it really fast. That gets masked in the masses of cows. So in the grocery store, how is it raised? How animals are raised in a confinement feedlot versus on a pasture is really different. What is it being fed? What an animal eats, of course, we end up eating that ourselves because it goes into their meat and their milk. And so being detached from our food often means that we're ignorant, we're unaware of what is happening in our food system, and it makes us susceptible to being misled and deceived about our food. So then I just wanted that intro before we got to real food because all of that matters.
It does matter.
In the food piece, I mean, we could talk about this for a really, really long time.
We want to take a break and thank our sponsor, Renew a Nation. If you've benefited from the Gospel Shaped Family podcast, consider hopping online and making a tax-deductible donation at renewanation.org today. Your generous donations make this podcast possible and further our work to help children develop a biblical worldview. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can support us by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. This helps us grow and reach more families with a biblical worldview. Now back to the show.
But you asked what is food? Real food.
Real food, yeah.
Real food, just really simple definition. It's mostly whole, unprocessed, natural food. So it doesn't have additives. It doesn't have chemicals. It doesn't have preservatives. It doesn't go through a manufacturing process in order for it to be prepared. And so then
A single ingredient.
So it's literally like, it's the way God created it. And this just as Christians, this makes sense. We are going to, God gave us food, and we could mention all kinds of passages in Scripture where God commands, a land flowing with milk and honey, give you your daily bread, the meat coming down to Peter in a dream, take and eat. And what was that? It was bacon, glorious bacon. Peter, eat this bacon. Yes. Praise the Lord for bacon. Yes. And so real food, it is created by God, eaten in its normal state.
Yeah.
Both fruits and vegetables and meats and dairies, grains, and and all of those things. It's rich in nutrients, and it is as close as possible to its natural state. So give us maybe some examples of what real food includes.
So real food would be meat in its purest form. So whether it's beef or dairy, seafood, poultry, pork, dairy, of course. So dairy starts with a milk. All dairy starts with milk, whether it be, goat's milk or cow's milk. But from there, that raw dairy turns into cream, and it turns into cheese and butter of those things. Whole grains, eggs as they're laid, fruits and vegetables. We would include in this honey,
which I have in my tea right now.
Honey in the tea. We used to raise bees. Syrup, so like maple syrup as it comes from the tree. We've done that. Beans, seeds, nuts, coffee, teas, those sorts of things along those lines. So
got I got Rishi tea right here.
Yes, so
that's a great.
like
it's a great clean tea.
Rishi tea is good tea.
Yeah, that's a good
just
tea.
Your single ingredient, unprocessed foods. So food in its purest form, and then you can use those foods in their purest form to cook with. And so you can take, single ingredient pasta, right? That's made from one ingredient to then prepare a dish for your family. But starting out to eating foods that are real food in their purest form.
Yep. So real food's what humans have eaten for all of history until really just recently when processed foods became available in the last 100 years or so.
I mean, like my grandma used to cook with lard. She would make her pies, and lard from the pigs that she would render and all that. So yeah, real food has been used for all of history, really.
And there's really been a war against real food by our government and the food industry. You can think of the food pyramid. Yeah. It literally turns the this upside down. The Jed mentioned the lard. There's a battle against fat, saying that fat is bad. I remember my mom when we were growing up. When we were growing up, fat-free was the thing.
Slim Fast shakes.
And I remember my mom thinking that, if it was fat-free, it was healthy. I remember her feeding us cookies that were fat-free for breakfast, and she was like, "This is super healthy." And I'm not trying to point a finger at anybody, but you trust the guidance you get even from your experts, and you think, well, they have our best health, our health in mind. They have their own bottom dollar in line, the food businesses in our country, and so they have you get lobbyists that lobby the government to encourage certain kinds of purchases from a process standpoint because there's not a lot. There's not a lot of money in certain kinds of things, but there's a lot of money in processed foods, and it lasts a long time. It doesn't go bad on the shelf, and so it's hard to sell fresh produce because it goes bad. And yes, so real food. All right, so let's transition.
Okay, it's time for a segment that I like to call Stump Dr. Josh, food-related edition. Okay, Dr. Josh.
I'm ready.
Are you prepared to be stumped? Look at all these pages of notes that
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Okay, here in this edition of Stump Dr. Josh. Okay, this is going to be a fast-moving one.
Okay, so
the question is this. The game is called, Is It Banned in Europe?
I like this.
Food banned in Europe.
Okay,
so
I
I'm
like
gonna
this.
give you the name of a food, and you're gonna tell me. I'm gonna tell you how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 items.
So I just gotta say banned or not banned.
Yeah. So is it banned in Europe? You can say yes or no, and then I'll tell you all the answers at the end.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's see how he does. I will tell you that I did this list for all 5 of our children in the kitchen this morning, and they got them all right.
All of them? Oh, man. Now if I get one wrong, I'm going to be like, I'm smarter than Dad.
Jay and Asher were like, Mom, okay. All right, you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
The first one, is it banned in Europe? Skittles.
Yes.
Fruit Loops.
Yes.
Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
Of course, that's like death in a wrapper.
Okay, Twinkies.
Yes.
Lucky Charms.
Yes.
Gatorade.
Yes, that one is.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's easy.
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Are they all yes?
I'm not saying
yes. That's a yes.
Pop-Tarts.
Our cereals are really bad.
Cereals are tragic.
Pop-Tarts. Yes.
Wheat Thins.
Yes.
Coffee Mate Creamer.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Ritz Crackers.
Sorry, you got milk that never goes bad. Yes.
Ritz Crackers.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh man.
They're all banned. I'm surprised you didn't say no for some of them. Yes, the kids were like, Mom, these are all banned. Come on.
Those are easy.
Yes. Okay, so let me tell you why. Okay, so it comes down to 5 ingredients. 5 ingredients. And I'm going to read to you what they are. The number 1 is titanium dioxide. And it in America, it goes under the flavor or under the name of added color or artificial color. But it's banned in like the majority of the world. It's banned in the EU over cancer causing concerns. And in 2023, this.
So you mean our like cereals are causing cancer?
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Cereal and Ritz crackers and Gatorade.
Great to know. Thanks for messing up my life.
This
Jen.
is why they had I don't know if you remember in 2023, there was like all this outrage about the Skittles ban in California. Do you remember that? It's because the state of California banned titanium dioxide. Anyways, okay. The number one is brominated vegetable oil, which is like they added in citrus flavored drinks. So the brominated vegetable oil is why the Gatorade is banned.
Oh, there's so much in Gatorade though, not just one thing.
They say it helps
Gatorade is like a concoction of toxins that tastes amazing, but
brominated vegetable oil, like it just creates a bad picture. I don't know. Okay, the other one is BHA and BHT, which are called, I cannot pronounce them. I'm sorry. They're synthetic preservatives. So basically, again, a food-like substance. It's not a real food. It's a food-like substance that is a preservative. So this also comes in Apple Jacks, cereal, Jiffy corn mix, frozen foods, frozen pizza, Bugles corn chips, and cake mixes, including Pillsbury. Anyways, so there's that. RBST is a growth hormone that they put in milk and yogurt. And so some companies will say we're RBST, and so in most like milk that you drink, like if it's from like, if you buy it in a gallon, they'll like proudly say this is RBST free, but that does not go for milk that's put in foods, which is why in some of these RBST is put into, let me see, I have that on the list, some milk in yogurt, cheese, and ice cream. So like read your labels, because you might think, oh, I'm not eating all these growth hormones, but it could be like in your cottage cheese. It's disgusting. It's so disgusting.
Now I'm never going to eat again, Jen. Thanks so much.
And then the artificial food dyes, of course.
Which they're starting to ban in the U.S. Or actually, they didn't ban it.
It's been big. But
companies are just
Whole Foods,
getting rid
Trader
of it.
Joe's, Aldi, Walmart is now going
dye-free.
Dye-free.
Yeah.
And some brands, this article says Annie's, Unreal Snacks, Go-Go Space, and
people
Chomps are the ones that don't put it in.
Chomps are great.
Yeah, we buy those brands.
Yeah. So there's, you read this list and you're like, oh my goodness, can I eat anything anymore? And the answer is yes. You just have to find the alternatives and eat differently. You generally want to shop around the outside of grocery stores, not in the middle.
So did I stump
sorry, go ahead.
Did I stump Dr. Josh?
No, I actually got this one right.
Got it today! Oh my goodness, Josh. How did I not stump you? But I didn't stump the kids either.
I got
thought
smart.
That would be a hard one. I thought you'd be like, wheat thins, maybe.
After like,
but we don't
half of them were.
Yeah. We used to.
So I just got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
For people who want to send hate mail to you for just messing up their whole life, how can they get a hold of you?
My family knows where to find me.
Okay.
I already told them all this. They're like, Jenny, stop. But then they come over here and I make the best stuff.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
Because
real food tastes better than fake food.
Because here's the thing. So let's say you say, okay, I can't have Skittles because they're full of all these like food dyes and
what do you eat instead?
There's like Giggles. There's like this candy called Giggles, or
they're pretty close to Skittles.
Or
they're not as good as Skittles.
Joyride candy has
Joyride has cleaner. Yeah, not perfect, but cleaner.
Let's say you want a Little Debbie. Like one of those Little Debbie.
I love Little Debbie's.
Those are like
I love them.
food.
Yeah.
You can make a bûche de Noël.
Yeah. I say yes. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that. I've seen you make a couple of them. They're impressive.
If you want to have Pop-Tarts, I make Pop-Tarts from scratch. You can buy clean wheat thins. You can use regular, like actual cream in your coffee.
We're going to do what's called the Bible in 365, where we are going to invite you to read through the entire Bible in 365 days in 1 year. The one I love the most is by a guy named Robert Murray McCheyenne. He created a Bible reading plan that splits up readings in the Old and the New Testament every day. A lot of readings will start in Genesis, and you don't get into the New Testament until like 2/3 of the way through the year. I like this one because you get Old and New every day. So consider the Bible in 365. Now back to the show.
So let's go through really quick. 10
Yes,
tips
10.
transition from processed food to real food. So let's do these. Number 1, start by replacing just 1 or 2 food items. Pick a couple things and start small. Nobody goes from eating like a full, like traditional Western diet to kind of doing a lot of what we do. Most people don't do that. It's impossible. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm still learning and making swaps on things. I just changed our dishwasher detergent. I mean, there's so many different like healthier swaps you can make in your life. Choose 1 or 2 things and just go for it. Maybe it means you buy different breakfast cereal, or you cut out breakfast cereal, or maybe it means that you say, I'm going to make eggs for breakfast, kids, or teach the kids how to make their own eggs for breakfast. It's cheaper than breakfast cereal. Just choose 1 or 2 things and roll with it.
Second one is be careful of nutritional claims on packages. Mm-hmm. Most nutritional claims on the around the packages they're basically marketing ploys to convince you to purchase their food.
Yes.
And more times than not, they are misleading. So they'll say things like all natural flavoring, and you think, oh, this is
healthy.
This isn't chemicals. Well, it's flavoring. It is chemicals, but they phrase it so that you're like, oh, okay. And certain labels, they can say certain things, like they'll say on a label, grass finished for beef. Well, grass finished.
Yeah.
Well, they mean what we just said mean two different things.
Yeah.
So grass finished, they'll be fed grain their whole life. They'll blow up these cows. You can do it in 6 to 9 months if you just pump them full of grain. And then if you give them a little bit of grass, a little bit of hay right at the very end for like a week or 2 that they get to eat just even a teeny little bit, you can claim they are grass finished.
Ridiculous.
It's like, no, these are grain fed animals.
Yeah.
And some people have really strong opinions about grass fed versus grain fed. But grass fed cows, they live on pasture, and they only have to have a percentage, so you can claim that. It's just misleading. So be careful with the nutritional claims that are on packages.
I was at the grocery store last week, and I saw there was like a bag of Lay's potato chips, and on the front it said made with real potatoes. Lame. Anyways.
What does that mean about the rest of the
potatoes? It means they're trying to say that it's like so great because it's made with real potatoes. And we're like, well, duh, we know the potatoes aren't the problem, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I was like, I roll. Okay. Number 3, don't buy food with ingredients that you can't say. So if you're looking at a food package and you need to be able to pronounce this word that I couldn't even pronounce, butylated hydroxyl. I didn't even say that. Well, just put it down. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
That food is created in a lab.
It's not real food.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So you want to look for real food, whole food that was around 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Generally, this isn't like a die on the hill thing, but the fewer ingredients, the better. And the rule of thumb is like 5 ingredients or less. Yeah. That means it's probably pretty close to whole real food.
Yeah.
Next one is eat whole foods when possible. Mm-hmm. These are the things that come from the ground or an animal, and they don't contain preservatives or additives, artificial flavoring, or this thing called grass. That's another we could do a whole podcast on that. Grass means generally recognized as safe. There are thousands and thousands of chemicals that have been allowed to be in our food system.
In America, not in other countries.
I'm sorry, I'm going to burst your bubble if you haven't heard about this. And they've never, ever, ever, ever been tested for safety or if they cause any problems. And there's thousands of them in our food system. So it's just called grass. We could do a whole episode on that alone. But the whole foods, of course, they're highly nutritious.
Yeah. Next one is purchase food from a local farmer. Even if you live in the city, you can purchase food from a local farmer. So a farmer is going to be, 0 steps between you and your food. And so whether it be your meat or your dairy, I know that raw dairy is highly legislated in so many states, but if you have the ability to do that, but you could get on a herd share and they'll deliver things to the
That means
city.
you own part of the cow.
Own the cow. You can actually buy your own cow and have a farmer take care of it for you if you want your own dairy. You can, go to get a CSA or grow some of your, or not grow your own food. That's our next point. Grow some of your own food, but know your farmer and purchase directly from them. So for us, we obviously raise a lot of our own food. I am not a great gardener personally. I've tried so hard. I mean, I promise you, I've put my blood and sweat into it. It's not my gifting. And so we will purchase, like this summer we purchased 2 full bushels of green beans and I canned them and we raised pumpkins. And so I have a farmer that I know.
Yep. Even we do.
Yeah.
So ask some questions of if you ever go to a local farm, which is a great thing. Most people have farms within driving range. Ask them some questions. Here are some questions to ask. Do you spray herbicides or pesticides on your crops?
Mm-hmm. Or on your fields where your
on your fields where your animals are raised? Yeah, because you don't want them eating pasture that's been sprayed. Do you use antibiotics or hormones on your animals? Mm-hmm. Do you vaccinate your animals? Mm-hmm. A lot of animals do get vaccinated. And of course, you know that there are more antibiotics. 75% of the antibiotics that are used are in animals, not in human beings. Yeah. And that's why we have antibiotic resistance, because it goes into our meat and it comes into us and we get it, and it's problematic. What fertilizers do you use on your crops or on your fields? Do you wax your produce? There's some now that it's really, really hard to even get the wax off of apples and other things. Do you raise your animals in pasture or in confinement? And so confinement, of course, is a building that will have hundreds or thousands of animals, and they're in their own feces and they're breathing in those particles. It's not healthy. Do you disinfect your animals with a chemical during processing? We stumbled on this one by accident. We're raising our animals. We have a phrase that our animals don't do drugs. Mm-hmm. And so where they're really clean, they're eating on pasture that's not sprayed. There's no chemicals. They're out in the sunshine. They, no vaccine. And, if it's life threatening, we will of course have some medical care for them that might.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But our animals in general, healthy animals don't need those things. Right. And for the majority of our animals, that's the case for them. So they've had none of that in their system. And so then when you bring them to this processor, and I remember I was, looking around close to us for a processor, and I just asked them, I'm like, we've been really careful on what goes into our animals. Is there anything that goes onto the animal during process? Do you spray anything on them? And they're like, oh yeah, we have to spray this acid to, for bacteria purposes. I'm like, do you wear a hazmat suit? And they're like, oh yeah, it's super, super toxic to human beings. I'm like, did you just hear what you said?
The spray are sweet.
You're spraying the meat. They're super toxic to us. It's getting absorbed into the meat, and then we're going to eat it. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want that sprayed on our meat. Mm-hmm. Will you not spray it? And they're like, no, we have to spray it. And they tried to convince me that this was okay. They said, we get animals from organic farmers all the time, and they don't care. I'm like,
they don't know. That's why they don't care.
This is the organic piece. Sometimes your organic isn't as organic as you think it is. Yeah. And in the processing component, there's no requirements around from organic what is sprayed on them to be considered organic. And so you're looking for a farmer that uses as many natural practices as
farm freezer all the way.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Next one is raising your own food. There's said to be about, well, let me just ask you this. How much money do you got in the bank? I hope you have some. If you didn't have any and you lived on, let's say you had 3 days worth of expenses, in your bank account, we would say, yikes, we're not in a good place. Did you know? Well, Jen, do you know how many days worth of food is in the average big city in America, like Minneapolis?
Like the whole city?
Like the whole Minneapolis suburbs area. If there was no more food ever coming into the city, how long could the food last in the Minneapolis suburban area for people?
5 days, 10 days.
3 days.
3 days
is the average.
Wow.
So we live with our food like we would never live with our money.
Yeah.
You can't eat money. And so it is we're really dependent upon somebody else for our food. Yeah. And if things go bad, which hopefully they don't in our country, but the food is what you really want. Yeah. Food is what you really need. And so anything you can do on your own to break the dependency upon somebody else in food, these don't have to be hard things. It could be things simple as plant a couple apple trees. Yeah. Put some perennial kinds of, which we do here. Jen said she's not a good gardener, but we have perennial things that come up. We have a really big raspberry patch. We have cherry trees. We have apple trees. We have a grape vineyardy area, and they come up every part of the year, and we don't really do much of anything with these. They're just there. Those are easy things to do. Of course, a garden is great. If you can have chickens in your backyard, a lot of places now allow like 3 chickens or 5 chickens. That's a great thing. And then we'll see you having a farm about 5 years from now.
You can come be our neighbors.
There you go. Yes.
We can trade milking duties together. It would be so fun.
So you don't want to be, you want to break some of that dependency.
Yes.
All right. Next one, Jen.
Next one is to learn to preserve food, going along those lines of just being sustainable and having a little bit of a food preserve. The art of learning to preserve your own food is completely lost. So maybe it looks like you learn how to freeze food, because freezing food isn't as easy as just like throwing it in the freezer. If you're freezing fruits and vegetables, there's a process to it. It's canning, it's freeze drying. There's a lot of different ways that like preserving food looks like. You can even buy these like big bins with like seal tops to like seal your food up. I've been really working on learning how to can these last few years. And what's interesting is like, I don't really know anybody. My grandma used to can a lot, but like, I don't really know anybody who's super good at canning, like who I would be able to say like, because I was canning like all these green beans, and I canned, apple pie filling. I canned just like a ton of stuff this year. And I didn't have anybody who was like, I am great at this and I can just show you what to do. I didn't have anybody. So learn how to preserve food. I'm not great at it, but I did it.
Yeah, like get a chest freezer.
Yeah, chest freezer.
Learning to ferment food. That's another preserve.
Fermenting is a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's important. Yeah.
These are completely lost skills. These are skills that I didn't grow up learning. I don't think my mom grew up learning them because my mom didn't know how. So
yeah, we've lost a lot.
It's a few generations back. Okay, next one.
Is learning to cook food. And this can be fun for a lot of people. It is another lost skill. So get a really good cookbook. And you can get some that are real food-based cookbooks. You've got a couple here. Did you want to show any of them?
Yeah, I just brought these two books were my go-tos when I first started, when we switched from doing mostly to real food. The first one is called 100 Days of Real Food. And this is like a step-by-step guide to like how to like fully eliminate processed food. And there's super fun recipes in here. And there's actually like grocery store guides. Like here are in every section of the grocery store. But these are really great, simple, real food recipes. And then there's another 100 Days of Real Food cookbook. And I actually cooked through most of this cookbook with the kids. Well, with our family, with the kids. And just I've made pretty much all of these just great real food recipes that are so tasty, because really the best food, the best recipes use real food. Like it's very rare. Okay, so I will say the only cookbook that I've ever seen where they will the ingredients are like processed foods are Joanna Gaines. So Joanna Gaines in her cookbook, no shade to Joanna Gaines. She does a lot of great stuff. But in her cookbooks, it'll be like, buy a package of graham crackers and mix this up. Or it'll be like, she does a lot of like processed food. But in a cookbook though, like, I don't know. Most cookbooks use real food and then
that's like the Meghan Markle style.
It's not as bad as Meghan. He knows I don't love Meghan Markle. Although I want to say, like if I buy a bagged salad,
I get her every time. It's like pushing the button.
Bagged salad. I bought a bagged salad, and I was like, I'm gonna make this when so and so comes over. And Kate, my daughter, was like, so you're gonna Meghan Markle the salad? And I was like, yeah, I am.
That's funny.
Anyways, so I'm just saying.
So some of the areas,
food in a cookbook, just learn how to cook.
Some of the areas you did in this, it was like learning to cook a whole chicken, and a lot of ladies, you know,
whole
I don't,
chicken.
I still, you know how to cook the whole chicken.
I could cook a whole chicken like 1,000 different ways.
That's great. Making sourdough bread, that was a process for us that we learned.
Boom.
Yeah, I was funny. I was at a dinner.
I used to make regular bread before yeast bread before I made sourdough bread. I memorized that recipe in 2012.
I was at a dinner with some very high up people in significant organizations that everybody would know that if I said their names. And they were literally, the conversation around the table turned to the crazy people who make sourdough bread and have chickens in their backyard. And they're like, we can't do it. Those people are crazy. I just listened to say, like, you know, talk to, and I'm like, we do that and a lot more. That was yes.
We would have won him over.
Yes.
I would have sent him home with my starter.
But it comes down to, we have to change the way we think about cooking and eating, rediscover our kitchen. A lot of us, it's about convenience and ease, and it does take a little bit of work. But there's a lot of joy being in the kitchen together. Being, family gathers around food. It's not just grab and go and blow. You actually spend time around food. And it just creates a whole culture in your family.
And there's a couple new like meal delivery services, like you can do HelloFresh and whatnot, but like Hungry Root does like organic, real food stuff too. So you can still cook and like use real food.
Yep. Last two, we'll do these quick and be done. Prioritize meal as a family. Mm-hmm. So lots of families eat high percentages of their meals out of the home, like
in the car.
40% are Fast Food Nation, that book says 40% of meals are eaten out of the home, 25% are eaten in the car. And so we've just outsourced our food to other people. And in outsourcing our food, we have literally outsourced one of the most critical aspects of our home, by which relationships are strengthened, by which we pass on our faith to our children. We strengthen our home altogether, and it's having negative effects on our family. So prioritize meals as a family, gathering and eating at home as possible. I mean, it's not going to be possible all the time. But,
yep. And then the last one, vote with your dollars. The grocery store industry has changed tremendously in the last 5 years because people have chosen to spend their money on healthy, unprocessed foods that have high quality organic ingredients. And so if you spend your money in the grocery store buying chips that are made with avocado oil versus, refined oil, the grocery store will see that and they will start stocking those items. And so use your money to support companies and food industries that cook and provide real food. So that's farmers, that's brands. Tell your grocery store that you want to see those things. We do a lot of our grocery shopping at Costco. And Costco has been amazing at stocking organic produce. They had grass-fed bone broth when I was there. They have tallow. They have organic flours and things along those lines. And they do that because they know people are buying it. So if you voice your opinion to food companies and to your grocery stores, you'll see a change. I have seen a tremendous change in what is offered in mainstream grocery stores over the last 5 years because people are asking for it and they're shopping, they're voicing with their dollars. And so
I saw it I was just traveling and I saw it I had choices, and it's really hard to eat healthy when you travel.
So hard.
And I saw it at the airport this last time I traveled, which I haven't before. I could get chomps, beef sticks,
which is like a clean beef stick.
Yeah, I could get. There was a number of things that that were a clean brand. It has no nitrates in the chomps, which is a carcinogen.
And no added colors either.
No added color. You know, there things like that were not and have not been available. It's like, wow, all of the dollars that we spend support a food system of some sort. And so we buy chickens that are literally raised in tiny jail cells. That's how a lot of chickens are raised. They'll shove 7, 9, 10 chickens in like this little teeny, jail.
So
and, if we buy those chickens, it encourages that versus buying chickens that are raised the way God intended. They're pecking and outside in the grass and outdoors. And so try to financially support those healthy kinds of options. And it does matter.
It does matter.
All right.
Okay, well, we hope this wasn't too much for you guys. I know it's a lot, but hopefully you will feel the need to and the desire to just make a couple small food changes in 2026, eliminate some sort of processed foods from your family, and just give the gift of real, unprocessed, healthy foods to your family in the new year. Just one step at a time, one bite at a time.
All right, that does it. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a great week.
And we'll see you next time. We're honored to partner with Garrett and Yvette Hampton, and today I want to point you to their podcast, Schoolhouse Rock. Each episode will help you disciple your children and capture a biblical vision for education. If you're a home educator or you've even thought about home educating your children, this podcast is for you. Their guests have incredible expertise and powerful testimonies. We've been great friends for many years, and I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Schoolhouse Rocked is working hard to bring biblical truth to your family. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for listening to the Gospel Shaped Family Podcast. Please share this episode and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts.